Welcome back to the Mining Your Business podcast, a show all about process mining, data science, and advanced business analytics. We are live in a studio. Jakub, are you excited?
I'm very excited, Patrick.
I hope you are. So, joining us on the podcast today is Timo Peters, COE lead for process mining at Bayer. And he will share his thoughts on how to build a center of excellence, hypergrowth, and what that means, and also answer some of our audience's questions. Let's get into it.
Hello again, dear process mining enthusiasts. I'm very happy to announce that this is actually the first episode that you will hear that we record on site in studio with all of the people you will hear in the episode sitting next to me. It's amazing. It feels great. I can literally touch Patrick. I will not do that, but I could if I wanted to. Patrick, how do you feel about recording here?
Well, honestly, Jakub, this is such a change from what we usually do, and it's so nice to see the people face to face, and it's a completely different interaction, and I'm really digging it.
I do not miss the squeaking floor I have in my apartment.
Oh, I don't either. And your noisy neighbors, and oh my God.
Yeah, I think at some point I had a dog barking there, so this is much better. Anyway, you already know from the name of the episode who are we going to interview, but I would still like our guest to introduce himself first. So, Timo, it's yours.
Yeah. Welcome from my side as well to the podcast. So my name is Timo Peters. I'm leading the Center of Excellence for Process Mining at Bayer. So since 2019, I'm in the process mining, so a bit longer time already, and really happy now to do the first podcast live.
Yeah, I mean, we are happy as well that you accepted the invitation and that you are sitting here with us, as you are also from Munich. Timo, these days, it's almost difficult not to see you as a presenter somewhere. You have been part of Cellosphere on 2 separate sessions. How did you end up in your career as this process mining protagonist? Where did you start and how did you get to where you are now?
Mm. So if you look into the whole journey, right? So like I was starting 2002 at Siemens, and I was doing order placement for Asia, right? So like I was the guy who was creating sales orders in the system in SAP.
Best experience.
Yeah, and I still living from this partially, right? So like that I know what is ongoing there. And then I had like several kind of roles. I was moving through the organization. I was in order management, supply chain, sales, procurement, IT, and many other functions. And what was constant on this, I always was involved in projects with process improvement, or where we introduced new SAP systems, or came alongside with CRM or Salesforce. And I think 2018, I had a kind of special role. We was looking for introducing new technologies into the supply chain. That was our key task. And we came across the process mining because we said like, yeah, we need to digitalize. We need to get more automation and the usual things what you always hear, right? Yeah. And that was the starting point when 2019, when I started to look at the process mining. And that was quite an interesting journey because it was lifting off, right? So like we saw what are the capabilities, what you can do instead of like what you did in the past very manually. And then it was evolving, right? So like it was like a given path, right? So like what you need to do next. So it was like always clear for me what is the next level, but that we scaled so heavily and so fast. I didn't foresee this. So and it was not a plan. So we used the opportunity, and we always listened to the request of our internal customers, what they want and how fast they want to go. And then like we moved in step by step, and there was a lot of challenges, a lot of learnings. It was not always easy, but that was the point, right? And then I believe a lot in acting in communities. So that is like why I'm doing all the sharings, why I do all the peer calls, why I'm like such present. But I think there's a value in this.
Sitting here in the podcast with us.
Yeah, sitting here.
We will definitely get to this piece on communities before. What I wanted to mention is that you are not the first person who went through what almost seems like enabler in process community, which is Siemens, because we already talked to Lars Rankemeyer before with T as well, where everybody is kind of a process expert, and they brought a lot for the community as well. So it's pretty cool. Second thing, actually, I know that a lot of listeners, including ourselves, we don't remember how it looked 10 or 15 years ago when it came to process improvement. Speaking about process improvement, now you have all these fancy tools, a lot of digitalization, process mining eventually as well. How did it change from your point of view doing process improvement 5 or let's say 10, 15 years ago to how you do process improvements now?
So like how we always did it in the past, it was very manual, right? So like you had an idea how the process should ideally look like, and you was talking to people would tell you like the main passes, but you didn't have the capability of really understand what are the variances in the process. Yeah. So like, and if they didn't told you about this, you was not aware and you was not able to design it. Yes. And everybody was know like very famous is like order reverse or like sending damaged goods back, right? So like nobody was thinking on the way back, only way forward. And nowadays, right? So like if you're looking to the capabilities and you really can do a data-driven analyze, it's giving you much more, right? So like you can really see end to end. You don't need to look to certain kind of parts. You're able to identify the root cause. Many times, if you're not taking the end-to-end process, really end-to-end, you just see the symptom and you try to fix the symptom and you're not finding the root cause. And this is then like you miss the opportunity to really generate the value. And in the past, it was really, really difficult to find them.
Is it more that you just had to go on a hunch where you say, well, we think based on the conversations we've had, some part of the business is not going well, and then we just try and investigate? Or is it, how did you go about it?
Yeah, so it was like a lot of, impression of people that they give you indication where to go. Then you came a bit more like to this Lean Six Sigma and this kind of methodology where you also was trying to build in data samples and looking for topics, what you can really do and how to improve. But if you're using it, there was not such capability tool-based behind that. You always could do for a certain kind of part of the process for only a certain kind of time. You can't run it continuously. So it's always like a picture of the
like
moment, right? Yeah, it's a snapshot. And there's a risk in this one. So it might be you're starting to implement something, what is a bit older data, but the world have already changed. Yeah.
Right.
So like you're trying to fix something what is not anymore there, right?
Yeah.
It's fun living in the future and actually be able to do data-driven decisions.
Yeah.
Timo, you recently changed jerseys, if I can use the sport terminology, and it almost feels, being in the community and starting to know the people, it almost feels like a blockbuster trade when you go from one company to another. If you can kind of summarize the journey you did in Nokia, because you for sure had a lot of learnings, and I guess a part of where you are now is also being in Nokia. If you had to capture something that you're really, really proud of from this years that you spent with Nokia, what would you pinpoint?
I think building up the center of excellence was for sure the highlight. I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, I still remember quite good how we implemented the SAP in Asia, right? So like came to one and it was a great team and great experience there. And I'm still with many people in touch and that also helped me a lot in the first steps with the process mining, because like people are moving and they're going on with the career and they're at certain points, and like if you sometimes need help, it's good to know them. But the building up the COE was one of that highlights for sure, and I liked that a lot because we had the luxury that we had the freedom to grow it, right? So as fast as we can. We was empowered to make our decisions, like how we want to move on. And the team spirit was one of the key why it came to a hyperscale. So like if everybody is pulling in the right direction, and also if it means like we did a lot of long working hours sometimes to get the things moving and resolve topics.
Do well.
You feel the spirit, right? So like and the team is moving with you, and that is actually fun, right? So like I would say like that's the most interesting time, I would say, right?
So the right people at the right place.
Yeah, and bringing them together, right? So like, and that they're moving with you, and that they believe into the vision, what you're going to do, and you're working on this one, and building this up is unique, right? So like you're creating something, and it's not of steady operating model, but it's like you can define your own world, right? Your own company, and I guess if you're asking people that founding a company, they will backward looking, they will say like that was a lot of fun, and I feel it in the same way. And I honestly, as I was get that opportunity, I was thinking like how you want to do it, and I always saw it like my own company, my own part of the company, and how I would like to grow it, and what kind of service I would like to deliver. And that's what I'm also now doing in Bayer again, right? So like I'm thinking like, okay, like where I would want to move it, what kind of service, what kind of quality, and how my stake or my customers would see me, right?
So, I mean, having that sort of freedom to maneuver this part of the business how you would like to see it, was it difficult to convince maybe upper management to give you that freedom, or was it just given to you? Or
actually, it sounds like some people say I'm crazy, right? So like, but I did more than 400 sessions, demo sessions, in that time to find it, to find the sponsors, to find the people that are going to follow you and see that opportunity. I think the biggest group was around about 1,200 people at once.
Oh wow!
Okay.
I did like one-to-ones as well sometimes. And it was always, if you do that, you're getting some reaction back, right? So it wasn't, we never get a bad feedback about the capabilities. Right? Everybody was saying, oh my God, right? So what we see there and what opportunity is there. But there was people that coming out and was looking for the next steps. They ask about this one, they want to get involved. And then you have the opportunity to find your champions. And you find your sponsors, right? So like over the champions, you find your sponsors, and that was like the path we went. So it was just a matter of time to get the sponsor and
to assemble the dream team.
Yeah, and I mean it's for me it's logical, right? So like if you're talking about digitalization, we need to understand what we're doing, and this is one of the big enablers for digitize your processes and your company. You need to have this capability. So it's just then a topic of educating the people, make them understand, and then it will come that you find your sponsor.
I do like bringing this entrepreneurial spirit into what sometimes seems like a very rigid organization, because after all, we work with companies, we know how difficult sometimes it's to motivate people. We don't have the luxury of hosting 1,200 sessions with them. Nobody would probably pay for us in that case. But it is, it's very important. And I like that you mentioned this, again, people game and bringing it up. Have you ever faced this difficulty? Because what we noticed very often is that it seems that when you are trying to define your champions and bring these people who are then helping you spreading the world, it almost seems that it's on top of their daily tasks, and it's difficult to get that resource that you so desperately need and take it from someone else. That's usually where I see a lot of friction, a lot of pushback. How did you address this?
Yeah, I think they're becoming then to the point of the center of excellence, right? So like you will have the champions in the organization, in the business, or in the different teams or program projects, whatever, that will not have like 100% time for doing this one. They have a daily job. And building up the center of excellence, meaning you have people that are fully dedicated to this and building this kind of service, or like, you also can say this kind of product, what your champions can use and promote, and like finding cases. So you actually the COE is the main enabler to do that. And if you don't have that dedication and like people that can do it 100%, then it's very difficult. It's getting nearly impossible, because for people that are an operative business, there will be always a drawback. There will be always like the focus on the business side. We need to generate money with our business, and it will be only like the second job, or the second part of this one.
And so I know that one of the sessions that you had or will have on Cellosphere? Because interestingly, we are recording this one day before Cellosphere, so I'm sure that you're already ready and rehearsing your speeches. Is 10 tips on COE. Would you be so kind and kind of review some of those tips for us so that we can also elaborate a little bit on those?
Yeah, for sure I can do, right? So like I think everything will be said, yeah. So like before, or like other people will hear that before. Yeah. So I mean important to mention the 10 tips all coming out of like own experience and many of them was like big failures what we had, yeah.
I'm
so
sure,
like
I'm sure
where we struggled a lot, and it always was also iteration of it, yeah. So like it was like you fail and then you was trying to change it and to improve it, and then you fail again and move then to a certain kind of stage where it's really good. So I think one, and I already mentioned, right? So like this was the 400 sessions what I did with the intro calls and demo session enable people. This is like an endless opportunity to generate and finding new use cases. I know that we should go data driven, but if you're starting the journey with process mining, you don't have the data connection, and you and everybody is looking that you generate very quickly a return on invest. Yeah, so like you can't build up the end-to-end process and then say like, yeah, let's look where we find value, right? So like it's not good way. So
you shouldn't. You can do that.
You can do that, right? So like if you have the right sponsor and you have the trust into this one, but it unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it was not the case for us. So we was starting to again like a bit more this old traditional way. We listen, what are the problems? We was then starting to in order to cash and source to pay area, and finding the first cases and then deliver the value. But the key was that we was really going in there and we showed the capabilities, what is possible, and then finding the people. And I'm still continue to do that. So like I think in the last 2 weeks I had around about like 10 sessions where we introduced to people the process mining. Yesterday I was talking to the warehouse management and logistic team.
Right.
And it's very important to get expanding, right? So making the people aware and training.
How do you find the right audience?
So traditionally, like you're looking to, I mean, the audience, it can be anyone, right? So like you don't need to take care that you say like, hey, I only can go to continuous improvement people, or I'm just going to operational people. It doesn't matter, right? So like I never take care too much on this one. I try to bring that to the whole organization, the knowledge, and always expanding.
And whoever is interested and will show up.
Whoever's interested, and sometimes like you have, I say it right, sometimes like you find people that raising their voice and they want to join, coming from a side what you never expected. So like you say like, oh, where's this from coming, right? And people that you was hoping for reacting, they're not react. So to not limit this one, I was trying always to make it broad and show the capabilities. And many times I ask also at the end of the sessions to say like, who could be interested as well, so that I'm getting additional names and asking them for building the contact. And sometimes we go into team calls or like we going to all hands calls and showing this. Yeah. So it doesn't matter actually. Yeah. So what is the audience? Important is that you raise the interest and that the people come back and that you then start to work with them. And if nobody raised the voice, ask always like, who could be interested? Who do you think like would have a benefit of this? And that was always helping us. So this is one of the good things. So like I said, I'm not going to stop this. I'm going to continue this even stronger now.
I like that you mentioned that sometimes you go to people that you hope you would get you would hear back from them and you would get the excitement, and you don't. And I also seen it sometimes that we are just barking at the wrong people.
Yeah.
Or maybe right people, but the people who either have enough of work on their own and they just cannot do what you expect them to.
Yeah.
So you just have to go elsewhere.
I was actually thinking yesterday about this a lot. That is very complex, right? So like how to address the topics, that they're understanding what they do, right? And also how you can restructure your demo that the people understand this, because I have the feeling many times it get viewed as an Power BI dashboard. So they see the dashboard and say like, yeah, that is Power BI or Tableau or whatever. But they do not see what they can do with this, right? So like, and it's okay to start like this, but then over time, you need to educate them that they really understand the power of process mining and that they can find the root causes, what you actually need to tackle and bring it into business contexts. That is really difficult, and every person works there a little bit different and understands it different. So I sometimes try to change the approach, but it's always like, some people you receive, some people not, and it's then permanently you need to go into this.
What are some of the other tips that you might have?
I think the strongest one, right, and the most important one I at the moment feel is that we need to focus a lot more about value. So
you've heard that one before.
Yeah. So but there's actually it's already a little bit in my mind. So I was invited for the first COE Cello Champion round, and where everybody was presenting the approach to go. And after reflecting that day, I was seeing that everybody was talking about either processes or they was talking about like implementation of an application. And I thought like, but actually we want to talk about value, right? So like you instead of talking about processes and tools, you need to think in value. Yeah. So your product, you want to earn money with this. Yeah. So and what we now did, we changed the whole approach that we putting the value in the middle of our mode of operation. We make it much more stronger. We following it up much more tight. And it's not meaning that we're leaving out the parts of change management or the process or the tool onboarding, but it need to have a red line through the whole story, and that will be the value.
Right.
So how does that approach from the usual approach that you would have taken before?
So I think before we was looking a lot to the process and say like, hey, what kind of KPI or like what kind of steps we want to more automate or what kind of bottlenecks in the process we want to resolve. And we at a second question was then what potential value we can generate with this. Yeah, so like it was always the second or the third question, and even we sometimes decided to go ahead without a clear agreement what is the business case. And that we now turned. So the question will be, what is the value what we can deliver?
And then you go into the implementation.
And then we going even what we're now starting to implement is we want to have that the business is going to deliver us the business case. The unit head and the financial controller need to sign it off. Yeah, so we know that's the potential, but also what we're going to implement is like a milestone check. So they need to define what they want to achieve at one point, and currently we're thinking of have the first milestone after the first month after the go live, the third month, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. So, and it can be like less than the potential what they calculated, because traditionally you will have a ramp up. And then at that point, so it's like again a measure, right? So like if you're failing this one, it's okay, but at this measuring point, we need to say like, what happened wrong, or did we achieve it, and what we can improve, so that we have a bit shorter timelines to see are we moving in the right direction from value point of view. Traditionally, you could say like, yes, I'm doing that. Do we resolving this problem for this kind of countries, or like, do we have the adoption on the users? Yeah, so like this is all like secondary part what we are going to look at as well, but the main focus will be on the value, and this is making it much more stronger. It will make it much more tight of seeing if we're moving in the right direction. It's not like micromanagement or that we want to force into the value. It need to be like we need to achieve that together. But it's again like actually we want to do a data mining, right? So like, and we need to behave in the same way that we see what we can measure. Are we on the right track? And if not, we're going need to change it.
Who does at the end who is at the end responsible for the value? Like, who do you assign it to, and who is then the holder of the responsibility for this?
The one that gets the blame, right?
Is it the one who is it the center of excellence? Is it the technical team, or is it like the business owner? How do you segregate this?
So actually, the question need to be like who can make the decision that the improvement get implemented, right? Or like that the change can happen. Yeah. So like, and that need to be the owner of this one. If the person that need to implement it can't decide it should be like this, then it's the wrong place. Yeah. So, and I think that is a key learning. So also, if you don't look to this one, you might have persons that have not the power of deciding it, right? So how to do it, and then you're wasting a lot of time to see and a good of effort, and then you see like it's not going to happen. Yeah. So you need to look who is able to make that decision, and that is then the business owner, or like what you need to work with. And he need to be responsible of doing the change. It can't, I know a lot of COE heads might be getting this kind of targets, but it's the wrong thing, right? So like if I would get a target to improve something, but I can't decide it, I only can decide for my center of excellence what I'm going to do, right? But I can't say like, hey, in order to cache, now instead of using SAP or something like that, you need to do something else, right? So like it's not in my power, right?
Regarding these tips that you still have, I have, let's say, 2 questions. One would be, what is the tip that most of the organization usually fail at? And the second, just so that you hear both and you have some time to think about it, because you didn't have the questions before, which is the funny part. The second is, which of the tips is the most underrated one? The one that you receive and you actually like, it's not important, but you actually think it is important. Maybe it's also some of those that you already mentioned, but
I think you might be the second question you need to place again, right? Okay, if I forget about this, right? So the most underrated, I think we had it already. So there are a lot of minor things what you not notice what you're going to do and what is playing a very key role, but one what is underrated is a lot this demo and introduction sessions. I know from other people they're not doing it so heavily. And if I remember right, at the end, as I was leaving Nokia, we had around about 193 use cases, and everybody said like, how come on, right? So like, how you find 193 use cases, right? This was because like we did a lot of marketing for this, and actually I think it's the right step, and it's the second detail into this one. If you have a big variance of use cases, you can do the right pick. I see, and coming to question number 1, I see a lot of companies are failing because they're pinpointing to a especially in the beginning, to one use case. So I think very famous is duplicate checker, right?
Yeah,
everybody wants to do
that one.
or payment terms, right?
Yeah.
So and especially I think duplicate checker is a very difficult one because all big companies, they're already checking if you pay double.
True.
Yeah?
No, it's just a question of how good they are at it.
And then like, you're starting with your process mining and you need to coming with a better quality product than its existing one. And yes, you can do this. We also did this. But what is the benefit? So how much more you can find, right? So like, and that would be the additional value. So like a lot, actually then if you're looking to your return on invest, you would have failed because you was just starting with this one. And if you're going broad and you looking to many kind of use cases what coming in, you have a bigger variety of picking, right? Yeah. So like what is the best potential into this one? If you just have 3 and you're looking at 3, you take the best one. But if you have 100, so your pick could be much more better. And this is sometimes where I see to fail, and the key to get this is like doing the demos, doing advertisement, doing marketing, capture this as much as you can. Everybody will understand that you can't execute everything at the same time, so you need to have a priority. and then you go ahead. Yeah. So like first, you need to have the first success, otherwise you can't go ahead.
Yeah. So now you just need to find someone like you to do 400 plus demo sessions in organizations.
I mean, like maybe it's overplaying. I don't want to say that everybody need to do 400, right? Or 300. Yeah. You can say like I'm focusing on order to cash, and you try to look to end and get a good variety of use cases. If you seeing a couple of them that potentially can return the value, then you're good to go. But I would never go with 1 or 3 anymore. I was also doing that in the past, but yeah, I think it's not good.
Okay.
And it's the same what I now do in Bayer, so that we're looking to capture a lot of use cases. I'm pushing for this one, that we have that opportunity.
Seems like you need to do a lot of groundwork before you even begin the implementation, before you even say what you want to focus on. With a lot of companies that we work with, I know that they just have this tool, they want to use it, they want to get going. Do you think that maybe they're spending too little time focusing on this aspect, or is that maybe something they can do beforehand? Or
so I think you need to be both, right? So like I think everybody's keen then to start, and it's a question of like return on invest. Yeah, so they don't want to wait,
right?
And they have the feeling they're losing the time. So might be you spend like 1 2 weeks, yeah. So like really going broad. Also the first one I used a standard demo, right? So it was not like based on our data. I showed on demo, but you can give the idea about the capabilities. Yeah. That's important. You never have like always that fitting use case in your pocket for that audience group.
Right.
You need to try to explain them and how they can translate it, and then asking, what kind of cases you could imagine, right? And if you have a little bit upfronting around on this one, you might have enough use cases that going to help you to deliver the first return.
Mm-hmm. One of the big topics that definitely comes into mind of a lot of listeners when they see you in the podcast and hear in the podcast is this hypergrowth topic, which is essentially from zero to hero, kind of a path, kind of journey where you start with very brief implementation, or maybe even with no implementation at all, and you try to scale the process, the initiative, the center of excellence, and everything that comes hand in hand when we speak about process mining initiatives. How do you execute a hypergrowth? I'm sure that a lot of these core messages are already hidden in these tips that you provided on building a successful center of excellence. But at the end, I guess that there still are some secrets on how to do this as fast as possible, because it's not just there's so many variables that come into thinking about it. And what is hypergrowth in the first place?
Can we define what hypergrowth is?
I mean, so if you're looking a bit to the numbers, right? So like, and might be to other startup companies, this is like, like not hypergrowth at all, right? So, but I feel for the process mining, I sometimes hear, right, this is like amazing what was happened there. And actually it was like around about like 11 to 12 months what we was building up. We was coming from 1 person to, I think finally the planning was like to go to 26. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like we already had a lot of them hired at that point when I was leaving, or like soon coming in. We connected from 0 tools to 21 tools in 11 months. So there was some big SAP systems behind, right? So, and like databases, some customized Nokia solutions, some third parties, and actually also saying like the first one, it took 6 months. Yeah. So, and the fastest one took 10 minutes. Yeah. So, if you know like how it's going, right? So what you need to do, and you can be very fast, right? So, then if you're looking from the use case point of view, we moved from, I think at the beginning, like we had 1, then we was quickly coming to 5. We invested a lot in the demos, and then we moved above 100. So then we was like slowing down again, because we feel like how we can fulfill all the expectations. And but then we was coming to 193. So we went from 0 data to 300 gigabyte, and then we quickly moved to 4 terabyte of data.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
And we was not loading all. I mean, if you imagine you have 21 core applications, you could even load more, but we didn't have time, right? Or we didn't have the use cases to do this all. I think easily we could have pulled out like 10 terabyte of data.
Yeah.
But then it's like building the data model and this kind of stuff. So that was like, like how we feel is hyperscaling. So now I'm going to chase that again. Yeah. So like I want to be faster, a little bit
more ambitious.
Yeah, more ambitious.
More processes, more data.
Super
Let's
duper
go.
growth.
Yeah. So or setting the new target of the hyper growth, right? So and I think the key in this one is that you permanently need to learn how you do this thing. So I mentioned an example. For the first application, for the first SAP system, it took us six months to do that, and it's not about like the technical capability that's difficult to implement this, but you have all the company internal processes. So like cybersecurity, all the legal stuff. You need to go through the different kind of environments, right? So like from development system to integration system to UAT to productive, right? So it always taking time, and then you have your freeze periods where you can't do anything, and actually that was the phase where we learned a lot about that mechanisms, how it works, and then we started to see like it can't be like this, right? So like we need to be faster. I can't get a use case waiting 6 months and then we're going to develop it, and then like after 9 months we have the first use case. So like then we always was starting to predict what is going to come next, or what we need to take next to have like a world map. So like what kind of areas you want to have, and we was pre-running this. So like we prepared everything. Also we invest a lot of energy in cybersecurity, so to clear that out. And this is then helping you to make it quick. Yeah. So why take 10 minutes? Yeah. So like, yes, it's like a cloud version. You have sorted out everything before. So like it's then just like the technical part, what you need to do.
Right.
Yeah. And I think 10 minutes is not, I mean, it was super quick, right? So like we didn't repeat that. Yeah. For sure not. But in general, you need to be ahead of the game. Yeah. So that is like how you can grow fast. So if you see what is coming, what kind of use cases, then you can go faster. If you always wait and be reactive, then you are too slow.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, in what part of the process mining journey did you start this hypergrowth in? Because I'm imagining that with one use case and then all of a sudden scaling to 28 developers for this is a hard sell when you're right at the beginning, because it's not been proven, it's barely been running for maybe a couple of months or something. Like, how do you convince somebody that you need 28 developers in a year's time?
How do you go to CFO?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was not like that. Like we had a ramp up plan. So that was made, and then actually we were starting to get the first one in, right? So then we go for 4, then we was around about 10, right? So like we always did step planning and achieved the goal, and then if it was achieving it, to see like, are we still on track? Is it potentially to grow? If not, you can slow down, or you're going to speed up, right? And actually it's the same like what we now do in Bayer. So we now see what is in there. You need to have your measure points, but if the opportunity is in there and you can show that, you can get the go for the next phase. Yeah? So like you're starting the next phase of the next scaling part, right? And it sounds like, like how you can ramp up so fast, right? So like but it was in a controlled manner. So important is also that you establish all the working mode, right? And getting the team together. Yeah. So like and how you're executing this one. If you just get in all the people, it will be a mess. Yeah, if you don't control it. Yeah. How you're going to work, and there are a lot of challenges. How to set it up and how to assign the use cases, getting the priorities, right? So like, you will face problems on, like that data are not working, or like this is still missing. And I guess you know that all.
We know this way too well. You wake up in the morning, you have all those red dots, the red crosses, nothing working. Okay, here we go again.
Yeah, and I think actually this was a bit good because like we had a good team spirit, and everybody wanted to be a part and solving the problems, and took the responsibility and accountability to do this. So that not everything is sitting in one person to do that. It's quite important. And amazing was also I saw that I was not initiating this at all, but the team was helping each other automatically. So like some people are strong on Python, very strong, right? So like and some are not, right? And they're more on business side strong. And they built it like a community. And if someone had a problem what he can't solve, they was calling each other, and there was doing like a little team meeting, and then there was solving the problem, and then there was disappearing, and it was always working daily that they did this. And I was not able to need to push that or like bring it in this direction. It was happening automatically because the spirit and the community is so good, right? So it's helping you a lot, yeah. In this.
That kind of also brings me to hiring the right talent. Then I assume that building a team with this kind of focus in let's say a large organization is challenging for sure.
Yeah, and important is that you say you need to have the focus point, right? So like if you're distracting this focus, you get a problem, right? So like we had these times where we lost a little bit the focus, where like we had a lot of turbulences. If things are not going good, right? So like you then friction coming up, and then it's how to say you need to enforce that you have again the bubble that people can do their work, what actually they should do, and for enabling the value generation. If you're missing that point, it can easily fall apart. But yeah, a lot of talent, right? So you need to watch out how it's coming together, and it's not about the technical capabilities, also like how's the people fitting together.
Yeah.
What is the spirit in this one, and like also that's the right mixture in the team, right? So like interesting was we had sometimes you see there are long people that working long for the company, right? So like 20-30 years or something like this, and they for sure have a different view than people that just coming from the university. And it can go worse, but many times it was a good fit, right? So like I still remember of a couple of sessions, we was always sitting Friday evenings. We was bringing the whole team meeting together, and it was always such a fun, and the community was always going bigger. Every Friday there was new people joining in, right? And we always had a good laugh, and it was a clear rule. We don't talk about business, we just want to have fun, right? So it can be like where you think if you would see the people on the street, they're not fitting together, but if they have the same interest and you bring them together.
Yeah, I think we can dab on this as well.
100%,
from process. And if you know the goal, what you want to achieve as a company and the project and everything, and then just bring people who are hungry, want to get there, but can also mesh on a people level and just ensure that it's just beautiful environment to work in.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like if I should say it, right? So, but sometimes we were sitting, still with our guys at around about like 1 or 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, and it was like we was discussing some problems, and like then somebody was like trying to change it, and we had like then a little bit like of private discussions then again, like joking about certain kind of things, and then we was going back to work. But it was showing like the motivation, and everybody sometimes like if needed, everybody was going to do the extra mile for this because of the spirit, right? And it was like not like we know like it's all late, and it was not a must, but people was volunteering to do that, and we had fun on doing it, right? So like it not feels like work or like pain, and that also make me going, right? So like I also don't feel that it's work for me. It's many time like it's my interest, it's my my passion to go that and reaching the limits and trying to get the limits a bit further moved, and that keep me going.
Great. Timo, you asked before the podcast even aired that you were joining and asking some questions, what you would like to hear from the audience. So we have a few.
We had hundreds of them.
Oh yeah,
Close to 1,000, I hear.
Close to 1,000. So we just have to pick 2 lucky ones.
Yeah,
So you did a
Pre-screening.
nice screening, and you applied all the process mining
Yeah,
methodologies to find
2 of the best ones that we got.
So the first one comes from Alam Ramazani. Please, the question is, usually process improvements cannot solely be associated with the use of a single technology solution. How do you specify the portion of realized value that links directly to process mining?
Very good question,
Yeah.
right? So like, and very difficult to answer.
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw that question before, and for sure, like I thought, like how on earth you want to answer this. Yeah. But actually, might be it's not that we need to drill it down to the to what is now the part of the process mining, what is the part of might be you have an RPA involved, or you have other technologies what playing their role. So you're first looking to the complete value. You deliver a service, right? So your customer stakeholders, and splitting it down only to the process mining or to the RPA, I think it's wrong. So it need to be captured at a higher level, and if you're splitting it down, it makes no sense for me, to be honest, right? So because it will be always difficult, right? So like you know, like how you want to say it, yeah. So what is a portion of what? Is it might be usage on data, or like like who is actually changing it, or like automatically doing the task, right? So it make no sense, because you might be identified with the process mining. Without identifying it, you can't do the RPA solution. So I would do it like this: look at the point that you deliver the service, and then it's like how you're splitting it. Nobody, your customer is not interested in this. He's getting the value. He's getting that benefit, and then it's a solution what need to be anyhow in place to deliver this. Yeah. So, and if it's multi-component, it's fair. I'm not sure like if you're happy with the answer, but I saw many times as well. There's a lot of discussion about recharging the money back, right? So to the business units, how you're going to recharge the license cost or something back. And I felt at least I went through all this kind of discussions, from charging it back on data driven, right? So like how many data and data objects a certain kind of group is going, from license to centralized to value generalized, right? And that is the same. If you're going too detailed onto this one, you destroy it all, because nobody is going to be happy with this. Yeah.
I do like the answer. It actually reminds me, there's one very iconic speech from the founder of Apple, from Jobs, who he's being grilled by some programmer asking, why don't you use this specific language? It's open, it's free, it's free for all, and I love it, and our community loves it, it's the best. And he's like, yeah, let's think about the product first, what you want to achieve, and then you ask your engineering team what they are going to provide.
I mean, for an app, you also don't ask what is the code line, what is generating the value, right? It's like, you.
Yeah, I mean, for us as engineers, we are a little sad, because how much work went into it, and all they say, like, it doesn't work. You're like, yeah, but there's a reason why it doesn't work.
You should see the code; it's beautiful.
Yeah, the code is beautiful. I documented it.
No, but it making it more complicated, right? So like, and it's not, it's not adding a value to drill it down, right? So like, more important is that you deliver the value, or the expected value, to your internal customer, right? And I personally, I say it right. If I'm opening the app, don't want to know like what kind of technologies are included into this one.
It's a fair reality. I think we all need to accept. Next question, the second lucky one, that comes from your colleague, actually, Dina Sasse, who asks, what is it that you haven't done yet with Celonis that you would really like to try out with Bayer?
So we did a lot, right? So not all, I guess, but one point is very interesting, and what I'm looking forward to is I call it like ecosystem process mining. So the idea behind this is that if you're looking to an end-to-end process, and might be taking order to cash, we are dependent on other companies as well, right? So in the process, there might be logistics service provider what doing the delivery for you, and you need to you can't handle them as a black box if you really want to understand the end to end, and how I'm going to integrate them. And the difficulty is that they have a big variance of systems, and depend where you're going to deliver your goods. It will be like multiple kind of systems and different kind of system.
The smaller the company, the weirder the system.
Yeah.
And also they have their own methodology of business language, right? So like how you're going to do that, and it get complex if you do traditional mapping of this one, if they're going to change something, right? So like you need to change it to your side, right? So like there's a lot of technical part what you need to solve. And then there's huge discussion normally on cybersecurity, business objective, who's benefiting from what, right? And all this kind of thing. So very, very difficult and very broad. As more players you have in the game, as more complexity you will have. This is something what I looking for to do. Very complex, will be a big failure. At the moment, I'm looking to a technology what is called web semantics that potentially could solve it. It's not science fiction. It's already in use. If you Google, right, so you're using web semantics.
We'll have to.
Yeah. So yeah. And it could have the potential to solve it. Yeah. So I'm now in discussion with a couple of companies, and there's an interest group into this one. So we need to see how we're doing the next steps. We need to do some trials. We need to pilot this a little bit, but it need to be ready to work with ecosystem. I for sure can do this one-to-one, right? So like if I'm taking, like a partner of us, I can already do it now. Yeah. But if I want to scale it to a complete ecosystem, it's not going to work in the traditional
So
way.
is this something that you are also, let's say, looking into the future? That's something that gets you excited and something that you would like to chase a little bit more and see how far or where it leads?
Yeah, for sure, right? So like that is one thing what we're looking into the future, and what to answer the question from Tina, what I'm keen on. Yeah, so might be early, might be we are going to fail, but I think it's needed for the future to do that, because there's a big potential in. I strongly believe into this one, but I also have on the other hand side, also for the future, there's interesting topic. Actually, alongside the process mining, I would like to see the flow of the data, or the flow of the data objects.
Okay.
So because in a simple thought is, if I want to automate a task, I need to have the right information at the right time, at the right point. And only if I have this information, I can do the automation. Yeah. If not, I can't do it, right? So, and if you're looking to the process, we understand the process flow, but we do not see what kind of data is missing to do this, right? So we can have a degree of automation or something calculated, but what is missing when the data coming in, that would be really interesting to see.
Both very interesting topics, and I'm sure I might have heard some of these also on the ICPM conference, which we recently visited. And I'm sure we will bring some very smart people who are already getting deeper on these topics.
Yeah, for sure, and needed, right? So like I might be not the specialist for all these kind of topics. Yeah, so like we need to solve it in a community. Yeah,
of course.
But this are two of the things. And yeah. I hope we go forward with that.
The future is still exciting, I would say. I was just talking to someone today saying I feel like we're just scratching the surface with what we can do with these technologies, which is very cool. Timo, time is up. I just want to thank you again that you found the time and drove all the way to studio to sit here with us. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yes, yeah. So like might be I can come back, right? So at one point,
for sure, will be
was a lot of fun, right? So I like it a lot.
No, it also makes me thinking how we do it in the future. Maybe some combining and maybe bringing more people on the show. It would be pretty cool having some panel discussions as well. And so
that'd be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, for you, dear listeners, thank you for tuning in again with yet another episode of Mining Your Business podcast. I hope you enjoyed this one, because we sure did. If you like us, just leave us a rating, leave us a review on your medium of preference. We are also on LinkedIn. We are also on Google. So you can leave us or write us an email on mindingyourbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or any tips, would you like to hear from some certain people, just text us. We would be very happy to hear from you. Thank you for listening. Timo, Patrick, thank you for joining me here in the studio, and talk to you and hear from you in the next episode of Minding Your Business Podcast. Bye-bye.